175,000 people.
A lot of performers come from quite damaged backgrounds or dysfunctional in some way. What's quite refreshing about your story is it's not really like that. You came from a remarkably successful family, and not lots of money, but your dad was a top Xerox guy when he was young. Your mum ran this incredibly successful salon. And they both taught you, A, that if you want to be successful, you've got to work really hard.
Absolutely.
And it seemed to me they taught you about the importance of when you get there to be humble, to not lose the sense of who you are.
They absolutely did. I learned, you know, my mother worked 13 hours a day, and I never heard her complain. I mean, she worked until her feet were calloused. And my father was such an incredible entrepreneur, and any and everything he said he would have, he worked until he had it. And he taught me there's no such thing as no. And I had a lot of great support. And I think the support is really a huge, you know, factor in my success, knowing that if something didn't work out, I still was loved. And, you know, having that security is really important.
I mean, your mum is only 10 feet away as we speak. So she's here protecting you even now.
Yes.
And she does come almost everywhere that you go, doesn't she?
She does.
What are the values, do you think, that she's instilled in you?
Well, definitely that, you know, beauty fades, and who you are from within is forever. And definitely be a woman of your word and hard work. She is always correcting me, and you know, I feel like it doesn't matter if you are the janitor or the president, everyone's the same. Making sure that I keep my humility and my spirit, you know, she is always honest with me.
When has she, since you became famous and successful, when has she been the most angry with you?
I remember when we first had our single on the radio, and I was starting to feel like I was hot. And I was in the record store, and she was talking to me, and I started singing because I didn't want to hear whatever she was saying. And I was about 15, and the song was playing on the radio, and I'm like, yeah, and these guys were looking like, ooh, that's Beyonce, and I thought I was hot. And she smacked the crap out of me in that store. When I tell you, what?
Really?
Yes, and sent me to the car and was like, I don't care what song you have on the radio, you are my child, you do not disrespect me, and I will never forget it. It was a great lesson.
So you've never sung again like that in a shop, in a store with your mum?
No, absolutely.
See, when I met her, I could tell, I mean, A, she's got your beauties. I don't think this beauty thing fades. But there was a steely look in her eyes, as if to say,
oh, yes,
you mess with my girl, young man, or old man, and you're going to get it.
She's strong.
So I'm just a smack away from one question goes wrong here, right? She's there.
She is. But she is my friend. And, I mean, we don't agree on everything, and I'm an adult, and, you know, we have our moments because we work together and with our clothing line, and she is respectful.
What is she most proudest of that you've achieved, do you think? What was the moment for your mum?
I can say probably when I sang At Last for the president. I think, you know, my father, all of his history, he grew up in Gaston, Alabama, and he was escorted to school every day because he was one of the first African Americans in his school. And my mother, you know, in her day, she couldn't ride the front of the bus. So for her to see her child...
Doesn't it sound amazing when you say things like that now?
Yes.
In this day and age, that only in our generation even, that's what your parents had to go through. I find that a staggering thing.
I do too.
Even now when I hear it.
It's true. But it's a new day, and my parents saw me being a part of that history. And now I see my nephew, and he's like, I don't understand why everyone is saying that Obama is black, because it's just normal to him, and that makes me, that's my, you know, my joy. So, you know, it's great to see the growth, and it's great that my parents could live to see that, and it makes me very proud.
Oh, and then a spell was cast, and here we are in heaven.
have got a pair of chops on you, haven't you?
Thank you.
Wow, you belted that. I mean, waiting before you went to sing that, knowing the background, knowing what you've told me about your parents, the struggle they'd had to come through, like so many African Americans in America. And then here, you have Barack Obama has become president. This sea change. And on the night that America celebrates, you were selected to sing. What are you feeling just before you go out?
Right now, I'm very emotional because it's like I'm reliving it. And it was really powerful and overwhelming. And I kept telling myself, okay, this is not about you. You have to do this for them. You have to do this for history. And it's the only way I was able to get through that song because I wanted to bawl and I wanted to stare and I wanted to watch and I wanted to, you know, but I was a part of it. So it was probably oh my God, I can't believe I was there and I can't believe it was my voice for that moment. And so honored, and so many memories, so many stories from my father and my grandparents and my mother, and just all going through my mind, and it was really fantastic.
Have you had to put up with racism as you grew up? Did you experience the bad side of it?
A bit, but you know, I feel like now people, at least with my career, I've kind of broken barriers, and I don't think people think about my race. I think they look at me as an entertainer and a musician, and I'm very happy that that's changing because I think that's how I look at people, and that's how I look at my friends. It's not about color and race, and I'm just happy that that's changing.
Well, there was a moment around that time when you had the most powerful man in the world, Barack Obama, African American. You had the biggest TV star in the world, Oprah. Mm-hmm. You, the biggest singing star in the world. You know, Tiger Woods was then the #1 golfer in the world, which would have been unthinkable 20, 30 years before.
Exactly.
The sea change really came through personal achievement as much as anything else.
Absolutely.
Did you feel that?
I did. Absolutely. And I'm proud of it. And I'm just praying that we continue to grow and people continue to see the right things in people.
What did your parents say after you performed at the inauguration?
Oh, my mom cried forever. And I did too. It was a beautiful night. And like I said, definitely the most proud moment for her and for myself.
And the president, what did he say?
I did.
First lady. You talked to them?
I did not speak to them. I wish I had it like that. But I've seen them years later.
I've heard, and you can clear up this rumour. This is a brilliant rumour, even if it's not true. So if it's not true, maybe just pretend. But I've heard that Jay-Z has the president on the speed dial of his cell phone. Is this true?
I don't know.
That means it is.
No, it doesn't. They are amazing. They are wonderful. And I just worked with the First Lady with the Let's Move initiative, and it was so beautiful how much
Because she's
passion.
a remarkable woman.
She is.
Whatever side you are on the political divide, or whatever your view of how he's doing as president, Michelle Obama has barely put a foot wrong. And is a remarkable role model, I think. She is.
And she cares so much. And what she did, her whole idea was so brilliant because the girls and boys were practicing the choreography, not even realizing that they were taking care of their bodies and moving around. And I'm so happy she asked me to be a part of that.
How do you think he's doing as president?
I think he's doing a great job. I think he's fantastic. I think he needs another term. He needs more time. And I think with the time he has, he's incredible.
Will you campaign for him?
Absolutely.
On the stump, doing your bit?
Absolutely. I did the first time, and I will again.
But you must have met him now. You must have spoken to him.
No, I've met him. They're amazing. They're so gracious.
He has to go around to thanking you, I hope.
Yes, of course. Of course. And we performed. I performed at the White House, and they were so gracious. They not only spoke to me, they spent time with every single member of my band, and they're just the epitome of class and heart. It's beautiful.
America's going through